Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we're going to be creating an artist palette. A palette is where an artist keeps their paints. That way they can hold it in their hands with the colors of paint they need squeezed from the tube. So we're going to learn to draw a little paintbrush and palette today. So when you get your brown paper, you're going to write your name and class code with pencil. Make sure that you use pencil, even though I will be using a Sharpie. I'm using a Sharpie so that you can see my lines and follow along. Make sure you use pencil because you only get one piece of brown paper. There is a front and back though if you need to end up using the back. Start out on the other side of your paper at the top left or middle corner by making this upside down letter V. It's kind of curvy at the bottom. Then I'm going to make a square to connect it at the bottom there. It might be like a rectangle and that's okay. This is all at the top of your paper. Then make two lines coming down from there. After you make your two lines, you're going to draw a semicircle, meaning it's not fully closed. It starts at the left side, loops around, and ends at the other. After that, if you have time, you could add a few little hairs to your paintbrush or some lines to show a shadow. Now I'm going to draw this big, curvy, almost like a letter S to the left of the top of my brush. So I'm going to start over here and make this big curve that goes whoop. See how it curves in near that circle but not quite touching it, and it ends near the top of the brush. Then I'm going to pretend that it goes around the other side of it instead of through it. I skip over that brush and I'm going to make a big arch, almost like a circle that connects at the other side of my squiggle. That was the hardest part. Congratulations. Now I can take my time to fix any of my lines that might have been wiggly or maybe I made a mistake. It's okay, it happens, and paint palettes are all different sizes and shapes. So it's okay if yours does not look like this. It can be unique. I'm taking the time to go back and fix some of my lines, and you could take the time to do this with Sharpie when you're done with pencil. I'm going to go ahead and make a few paint splatters. This could be in a circle shape or it could be wiggly and squiggly like mine. I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different paint splatters, but if you want to do more than that or less than that, you can. Notice how I'm going back and outlining some of my lines to make them a little thicker to show a shadow. If you wanted to do this with your Sharpie later, you can. I'm just doing this while you catch up drawing your paint splatter. When you're done with your paint splatters, we are going to draw the bottom of the paintbrush. I'm going to pretend that this brush is going through the center or the hole in my paint palette. That's where people put their brushes. I'm going to use my pencil to guide me to show that it would go right straight through, but I'm not going to draw the line through it because it's looking like it's going underneath it and hiding behind. I'm only showing part of it. So I make the bottom of the paintbrush, draw a few lines as a shadow, maybe I'll draw some paint on the tip of the brush, and now you would outline with your Sharpie. But before you outline with your Sharpie, or while you're outlining with your Sharpie, I'm going to show you what you can do when you're done. You're going to have some oil pastels. I'm going to use my oil pastels in rainbow order. So I'm going to start with red for my first paint splatter or paint dollop. I'm going to peel back my oil pastel because they don't need the wrappers. Sometimes they end up getting a little bit flat after they've been used. I'm using my oil pastel, which works like paint even though it looks like a crayon, to color nice and thick and thirsty inside my first paint splatter. Then I move on to orange. Then I will do yellow, then green, then blue. And that's all I'm going to have room for after that. When I'm all done doing my paint splatters, then I can color my paintbrush. I'm going to make the tip of my paintbrush have a little bit of paint on it. Then the brush of it or the hairs be brown or black, and then draw the base of my paintbrush just like the ones we use in class with like a silver middle squishy part to hold, and then you can make the brush whatever color you want. It could be green like the ones we use in class, or I'm going to make this one tan to show it really pop. Then I add some black lines to the left side to show that shadow, and maybe I'll add some lighter tan colors to show that the palette's made out of wood to add some texture. This is just going to make it even more realistic, making sure that anything I did with oil pastel, I did my best. Then I'm going to slowly, I know this video is fast forwarded, do baby shark chomps with my scissors to carefully cut it out. Notice my left hand's job is to hold and turn the paper as my right hand, which is my cutting hand, but yours might be your left, turns the scissors and opens and closes, but the left hand, or my non-cutting hand, holds the paper and turns it around. Now I made sure I didn't cut off any parts. Remember, that was super speedy version. I actually moved slow in real life. Now I'm going to need to get out my Starry Night painting from last week, my self-portrait that we did many weeks ago, and now I have my paint palette and glue. I'm going to be gluing my self-portrait to my Starry Night background first. So I'm going to make sure that it's mine with my name on the back, that my moon is at the top and I'm holding it the right direction, and before I glue anything down, I'm going to play with it like a puzzle to see where I want things. It wouldn't make sense to have my head floating up in the air, so I want it near the bottom of the paper. Instead of putting the glue on my Starry Night background, I'm going to flip my self-portrait over and start by outlining all of the edges with glue. Then I fill in the center with lots and lots of glue, and I hold it down towards the bottom. Remember, I'm lining up the flat part, the bottom of my portrait, with the bottom of my paper. No floating heads allowed. Then I stick it down really good, flip my paper over, and give it a good massage. Paper likey. Make sure it's stuck. Do a little wiggle test to make sure there's no edges falling off, because if there are, you need more glue. It's just going to end up falling off when it dries, even if it sticks now. Same with the paint palette. I flip that over, put the glue all over the back, and then stick it down wherever I want it, flip my whole paper over, and give it a good massage. Paper and paint palette likey. Now I give it that wiggle test, and if it's good to go, I clean up by putting my lid on my glue stick, putting away my oil pastels, my scissors, my pencil, and my Sharpie. And now, I can do something important that artists always do when they're done with a masterpiece. Artists always sign their name in the bottom, left, or right corner, wherever they have room. I'm going to sign my name in the bottom right, and then I am good to go. Awesome job on your masterpieces. Can't wait to see what you create, artists.